by going to type and set an AI group, inserting, you're able to set your AI to that AI group. So if I have multiple AIs, they go in the properties, and here under members, select it, and I can right click and add all these guys to the AI group. Now I'm able to create actions on when the entire group dies or when a single member dies. So I can write a script or set an action for specific actions when happens when everybody dies or when one person dies. Next, go into models and type in dummy. Dummy objects are very useful for creating hideouts. When we created our hideout for this crate, it's okay to use a simple object such as a crate. But when you want to use a more complex object like this building here, you can't go into your waypoint and you can't go in the hideout and just create and add this house as the entire hideout. It will be too much. So what you want to do is, if you want to add more complex objects to your hideout, you need to insert a dummy box. You will need to resize the dummy box and then go to your viewpoint, right click and add a dummy box as a hideout. And then double clicking on the dummy object, you need to change the class to hideout dummy. Now let's cover a few actions that are important in the game. Action accomplish will set up and accomplish your mission or your objective that you have set up. You would set up accomplish or unaccomplish your objective, and for target you would set up the target that you want to accomplish by going in the browse and choosing your objective. Going down, you can set up ambient sound. For these you need ID from script. You can set action appear just like we did for our sensors. Next you have attach, where you can attach a child, a parent. You can attach objects together. Canoe is where you set up your canoe actions. Change parameters, so you can change multiple parameters of various objects inside the game. So you can change bleeding parameters, flammable parameters, injuries, horse parameters, Gatling parameters, health. Change waypoint. You could set up multiple waypoints for your AI to decide between which one to go to, so it adds more variety of where the AI will go. Next is action chatter. You can have your AI chatter and kind of interact with the player, seeing what he's doing and reacting to him. Chatter wait. Any wait action is important. Because when you have an action chain and you have multiple actions that are happening at the same time, one after another, it's important to set up a wait after certain ones so they finish before a new action has begun. Damage, you can set up different damage parameters. Dialogue, you can set up a dialogue here. Dialogue wait, we talked about that. Action duel, this is where you set up a duel to take place, and action duel finish. This action needs to happen when on die, when you select an actor, and you can set up on when they die, action duel finish. Enable disable, this is when you have an objective and or when you talk to a character and you initiate something and it has to turn on and off. This is very useful when you can walk up to a character and they give you a mission and you choose yes or no. Fade in and out allows you to fade in and out into your map. Action hint, you are able to assign ID hints. Holster being weapon allows you to set holster weapon on your player. Instant actions is very cool. Here you are able to add to inventory, give money, camera shake, add very cool stuff here. There's a lot of instant actions that you are able to use. Next we have lock unlock. This is where you can set up to lock and unlock doors. Next you have action mission end. You end your mission. Start movie, make the movie end really quick, end the movie, wait until the movie is over, insert music, action occluder activity. You can turn on and off your occluders, which we'll talk in a later tutorial. Action open and close, you can do this, use this for doors and other objects. Play animation and play animation wait. To set up a play animation is very simple. So element name, it needs to be set to BIP01. Sequence name, name of the animation. So if you go to a character, go under animation. Here we have the bone, BIP01, and here you choose the animation. Some of these animations will not play inside the editor. So some of them will not play, but others will. And you can see the animations right there. And you can and just double click and copy under sequence name and just paste. Here, this is where the animation gets looped, how many times, and so on. Next you can play sound, wait until that sound ends. Play control is very cool. Set up weapon change, you can put weapon in hand, you can set up a player shooting, player punching. Basically you take player control and allow them to have specific actions for that for the time being until that action ends. Next you can select player select, and there is already a tutorial for this, and if you go to cojmodding.com under advanced tutorials, you can download placing character selection. Next is random actions. Is very cool. You can spawn and set a variety of random actions to happen. Next we have action script. We already talked about action script. You can set an action alarm level for AI as he travels between certain waypoints. You can have him go from calm, upset to alarmed. You can stop dialogue, stop movie, set side quest finish is not used, set look object is not used, switch weapons. Every AI comes with a specific weapon inventory, but you can use this action to switch to a specific weapon in their inventory. You have time and weather changed. Here you can change your daytime and weather over the period of time. So action wait is very important. You can use that in an action chain to wait between actions to happen, so they don't happen all at the same time or one after another. You set a little bit of timing. Some of the behaviors that are important here is look at behavior aim at. You can set AI to look at specific thing inside your map. So aim at, then under look at you would set a target where the AI would look at, and then the end condition would be, as we discussed, you can set it to time, how long he will look at it. You can set it to true, you can set it to false, which means he'll look at it forever. Then you have co-op CM. Do not use co-op concentration, but use behavior co-op CM. This is where you would set concentration mode to happen. Next you have drive wagon. This is where you could set a behavior for the AI to drive the wagon. Behavior editor attack. We talked a little bit about this, but one of the more important things that I did not cover is you may want to choose nearest node, so it gives more variety for the AI to choose based on which node they're near, so they can decide which one to go to. So you may want to set this to true. You also want to set up the fight node here and an end condition. Give hand. This is where you set up the action between two main players. One gives hand to the other to help him up, depending on which player you play, or you climb up and then you pull the other guy up. Next you have kick door down. This will allow AI to kick the door down. This is where you would put the door, which one they're going to kick in. One important thing, if you're going to use kick door with force, you have to go to your door and set up where it says can be opened with force to true. This has to be checked on for it to happen. Look at, we already talked about look at, very useful. Movie fight, you can initiate a fight in the movie. Open door, again you would set up open door require use. You would set up a door that you want for AI to use and open. Next you have play animation. You can set up to play specific animations. You would set up an animation name, if you want to loop it or not. Then you can play random animation. You can shoot behavior, set behavior to shoot at, set behavior to sit on the ground. You can set up behavior to throw a grenade, set up behavior to throw a lamp, and behavior to wait for an enemy.